Happy Sunday, everybody. So I just wanted to talk to y'all about my GPS situation, my revelation through GPS. So, of course, GPS is our global positioning system, and that's how we know it. So, basically, it is a satellite constellation supporting highly accurate positioning, navigation, and timing. But in simpler terms, basically, it is a system that tells us where we are and tells us where we're going. So everybody's familiar with GPS, right? I know we use it so often, so frequently now when we're just driving around our local neighborhoods, when we're traveling. So here's my GPS revelation. This past week, I attended our Grace Life Conference at church. And let me just say that the Grace Life Conference was amazing. So if you're in the Atlanta area, or if at any point you want to travel in, I think we have our conference every year. I'll be honest, I know I've been a member of the church a long, long time. Don't judge me, but this is my first time actually, because usually it's during the week. Well, it starts during the week, right? And it's, it has a day and the evening service sessions. But it will require me to take off work. So this is my first time out of many, many years being a member of the church that I took off work to attend a conference, but it was by far the best decision that I could have ever made. And I am so glad and so grateful that I was able to take the time off and attend the conference. So we'll table that. But basically, so I'm going to the conference the first day, the first morning session, right? And mind you, for you all that follow me or listen to my videos or read my blogs, let me slow down. You know that I recently relocated. I closed on my house last month, but it's procrastination again, don't judge me, but I didn't actually physically move into my home until last weekend. So anyway, this was my first time traveling from my new home to church, to the church campus. And so I'm a avid GPS user. I'll turn the GPS on even when I know exactly where I'm going and how to get there. I could be going to the store around the corner and I turn my GPS on. One, out of habit, but two, because in Atlanta, and anybody that lives here or has ever lived here, that traffic can be bananas, right? So you just never know what you might run into. So I make a habit of turning my GPS on so that if there's something that maybe a wreck, accident, heavy traffic, I kind of know, and it may give me a different route that I can take that will help me get to where I'm trying to go sooner or in a more timely manner, right? Than if I just didn't turn the GPS on and went by my own knowledge. So anyway, avid GPS user, using a GPS on this morning like I always do. And so the GPS is taking me a different route. It's having me get off on an exit before what I'm thinking is the exit I should be getting off on. And just a little caveat here. I am not the best with directions, right? I am navigationally challenged, right? So when you talk about, go east this way and west and that, unless I see it on the compass itself in the car, or I see it on the signs like 285 west, then I don't have a clue if I'm standing and facing east, west, north, south, whatever. That's not my thing, right? So I think I know sometimes the direction I'm going in, and sometimes I have zero. I'd be clueless. I don't know. So anyway, got the GPS on and I'm thinking, man, I think I'm supposed to go down one more exit, but I'm going to go ahead and follow this GPS today because I don't really know exactly where I'm going. I think I know, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'm going to follow the GPS. I'm like, because maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I think that the next exit is the right street and it's not. So I follow the GPS, make a pit stop at the gas station, get on the church. Now, I did notice briefly that on the main road to the church, there was some construction. So it was condensed down to one lane. But it didn't at the moment. I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes how stuff just don't click. in the moment, it didn't dawn on me that, oh, maybe that's why it rerouted me. I didn't think about it. I just thought maybe the GPS was just, this was the better exit to take. So anyway, later that night, I GPS the church directions again, and it give me the directions to the exit in the street that I thought I needed to go on earlier. And I'm like, okay, I knew that was the right way. All right, so fast forward next day, getting ready to go to the conference again the next morning. And this time I'm like, you know what? I turn the GPS on. It routes me the way it did the morning before. And I'm like, I'm not following that. I'm not following that, because I know from last night that I can go to the next exit, and that's really the best exit to take. So I didn't trust the GPS, right? I trusted me. I trusted what I thought. Knowing that the GPS knows when there's other things going on the different routes and will reroute you, I just didn't trust it, because I felt like I knew better. Like, it don't make sense to go take this exit, take this back road, take that road, and get on the main road, when I can just go to the exit right there and be on the main road already. So I don't listen to the GPS. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna pass this exit, and I know that it'll just reroute me to the exit that I think I should get off on anyway. But it didn't. It rerouted me to the exit after the main road exit. So I'm like, now why is it doing that? Okay. So I don't mind it though. I'm like, you know what? I don't know what's going on with this GPS. It's tripping. It don't know what it's talking about. I'm going to go the route that I feel like I'm supposed to go. That makes the most sense to me. That seems the most logical. So I get off on the exit. I'm sitting there. And it's not a whole line of people. So I'm like, oh, okay, this ain't even bad traffic. This is doable. And as I look at the GPS time, right, I see that I done went from going to be at church a few minutes early to now I'm finna be several minutes late. And I'm like, no, wait a minute. This like something, what's the problem here? So I sit and I see, you can see the light right on up, and it's changing from red to green, and we barely moving. And then it changed back to red, and I'm like, okay. And it take a while, but when I finally get closer to the light at the the exit intersection to turn on the main road to get to the church, I realize and I remember like, oh, that's right. The construction. So they still doing the construction from yesterday. And the route that I took yesterday got me to church on time because I bypassed some of this traffic at this exit. But this day, when I decided to take my own route and do what I thought was best, now I put myself right in the midst of all the traffic, because that light is where people are coming from all different directions to get on this main road to get to the church. Now, of course, everybody's not getting to the church. People probably going to work, doing other things, plus the traffic of people going to the conference, right? So there's additional traffic, and it's all condensed down to one lane. So as I'm reflecting on it and thinking about it, right, I have this revelation, and God is like, so this is what happens when you decide that you gonna do things your way and not my way. And you see all the mess that happens in the midst of you trying to do it your way. See, when you took the GPS route the first day, you got to church on time, you wasn't stressed, you wasn't worried, you was good. But that second day, when you tried to do stuff on your own, with your own logic, leaning to your own understanding, then look what you got yourself into. You've been met by barriers that have hindered you from getting to where you need to get to when you expected to get there. And so I was like, oh, for real. So it's like those practical examples of things that we experience in our natural life that can mimic the things that we experience in our spiritual life that impacts our natural life. So, God has our plan laid out for us. We have the word where we're supposed to be reading and discerning and learning and growing with God so that the Holy Spirit can guide us. And sometimes, like, we get the guidance, Actually, all the time we get the guidance. Sometimes we just don't take it. So we get the guidance from reading our word. You hear the Holy Spirit speaking to you, but then you just decide to, that don't make sense. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this because it makes more sense. It seems more logical. And then it doesn't work out how you expect it. And I think about Sarah and Abraham. Well, Sarai and Abram, right? I think that's how you pronounce it. If I'm not pronouncing it right, that's okay, because they did become Abraham and Sarah, so you all know who I'm talking about. But God had promised to reward Abram immensely. And Abraham was like, Abram at the time was like, well, kind of like, what's the point in rewarding me greatly when I don't have any heirs? I don't have any children. And so God said, I'm going to give you an heir. All right, so fast forward. Sarai, I guess that's how you pronounce it, Sarai at the time, before she became Sarah. She decided, well, you don't have any children yet, so here, take my handmaid, Hagar, and lie with her, and you'll potentially have an heir. So he did that. This is not God's plan. This is them making a plan and doing it themselves instead of following God's plan and waiting on God. So she gets pregnant, and all heck breaks loose in the home, right? It's contention, it's discourse, because now they've stepped outside of God's plan and tried to do it their way, right? What made sense, what was logical, because she's barren. Sarah's barren. She can't have children. So it made sense. Well, God said he was going to give you an heir. It's obviously not going to come from me. So here, take her and lay with her and you get your heir. And so as a result of that, it caused so many problems. And this is just an illustration of how God has a plan for us. He shows us what his plan is for us. But because we are leaning to our own understanding, it don't make sense to us. We can't comprehend it. We don't understand it. So then we do what we think makes sense and is logical, but it's not God's plan. And then that's where we meet barriers and issues and problems. Now, I'm not saying that all barriers and all issues and all problems stem from this, but if you look over your life and the decisions that you've made, I can guarantee you that you can trace some of the barriers, some of the issues, some of the problems that you faced in your life, some of the negative things, some of the hard things, some of the wilderness seasons that you found yourself in. You can trace it back to you following your own logic, you being disobedient, you leaning on your own understanding and what makes sense to you, and you making decisions based off of that, and that wasn't God's plan for you. And then you still end up in the destination. So if you think about, go back to Sarah and Abraham. Wow, the story, they're 90, Sarah's 90, Abraham's 100, and God is like, Sarah's gonna have a baby. Abraham laughed, Sarah laughed, but this time they didn't function in disobedience. And so it did happen. And that's when Sarah had Isaac and Abraham had his heir that God had told him he was going to have. So he ended up, Sarah and Abraham, it all ended up where it was supposed to be. But look at all the stuff that occurred in the process. If they had just trusted God, like if I had trusted that GPS, I would have taken the route that would have got me to my destination when I was supposed to arrive. I would have gotten there early, not late. Same with Abraham and Sarah. Like if they had not tried to take things into their own hands and make things happen in what they thought was the right time for it to happen, then they would not have encountered all the issues they encountered. But at the appropriate time is when Sarah became pregnant with Isaac and had Isaac. It was part of God's plan. It was based on his timing. And so when I thought about all of these things and I put it all together and I thought about my own life, like I said, if we reflect on our own lives and you look and you think and you're like, man, I can think of many times where I was supposed to do something one way And you think about those times like, some told me not to do this and to do that, or some told me I should have went that way and not this way, or whatever the case may be. I can think of plenty of times. And all of them haven't been detrimental, right? They haven't been big blow-ups. But I have had times in my life where things have gotten very, very rough. And if I trace it back, I can only trace it back to decisions that I made based on my own knowledge, my own understanding, my logic, right? My intellect, but not based on the plan of God, right? And so that's what I wanted to share with you all today. That was my revelation with the GPS. And so the title for this for me is GPS, my revelation, my GPS revelation. But instead of global positioning system, I'm talking about God's positioning system. And I'm saying that sometimes, all the time, we need to be following God's positioning system and trusting it, because every time that we make decisions, whether they're rash decisions, whether we feel like they're logical decisions, when we are not including God in the center of those decisions and letting him guide us, then we may find ourselves facing wilderness seasons, barriers, traumas that we never would have had to face or deal with had we just tapped in to God's positioning system and trusted it and actually followed it. I hope this helped somebody today. I hope that, you learned something, you've grown from this message. I hope that you have a wonderful and blessed Sunday. And until next time, have a good day.